Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Koi. I know it's normally what's going on, guys. Koi here. Yeah, there you go. That's the intro. Sorry, I'm just coming off of my sickness. The only thing I got left is this crazy whooping cough, or whooping cough. It's harsh coughs, but don't worry about me. We got the giveaway coming out, and literally this Saturday. So if you guys are not involved with that yet, do take a look at joining the Discord server to stay informed when we do the live stream on Saturday. Anyone who is taking part in the events like the mount offs and stuff like that, we're still doing that. Still going to happen on Saturday. I'll let everybody know when. So let me just talk about today's topic, today's video, and it's the same thing that a lot of people have just been dealing with lately, and that's the state of the game, what's going on, what's being done with the game, and what are the problems with it right now that they're dealing with. And I don't think a lot of people notice because a lot of people were like, "Coy, did you quit the game? Why haven't you posted?" One, I was sick as heck. I had that bad condition that almost led to my surgery. Luckily, it didn't happen. So all I needed was a little bit of rest time. Sadly, it just happened at the worst possible time for me personally, especially on a blow up. You're supposed to ride the wave, but I didn't do that because I was obviously just couldn't even sit down for too long before I got too sick and tired. But yeah, I did my first like test video yesterday where I kind of like got to get through it, and I only coughed like once or twice, maybe three times in that whole video. So today I feel very much so that I can do this without from now on without having any more problems. Hopefully, as long as I just do a little bit of prep time and stuff like that. So yeah, let's talk about it. So first things first, we're just going to talk about some of the underlying problems with the game, and let's get into the more important ones. I don't think it's really like all right to discuss stuff like values. Let's be honest, values are out the windows. You know what I mean? Between the bugs, the hackers, and everything else like that happen almost every single day, values are pretty much in the gutter right now until the next update. But the problem with that is that with the next update, we got a lot of information about it. And the problem I have with the next update is the fact that they talk about more items being involved within that update. Now, let me just take a sip real quick. Okay, my problem with that is that we're already struggling with stuff like inventory space, which I'm already running out of because I just try to keep as much stuff on me as possible, and I'm not even collecting like actual materials. The rest of this is Game Pass related space. It's like one of the biggest problems in the entire game because yes, I could buy Game Pass space. I would. The only thing is this going to be a something that's going to keep happening? Because keep in mind, with this next update that's coming out, we're going to get brand new items, brand new crafting materials, an entirely different level of items. And we even got a couple in my inventory right now. We have some of these common gatestone, uncommon gatestone. Nothing simplified enough. There's rare, there's legendary gatestones, there's unique gatestones. What if I want all five gatestones? And that's already 5 slots. And I can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? That's physically a burden to the major player base, and that's just a real problem. The other problem is the leveling factor. I don't think that a soft cap should have been implemented. I think hard caps are what matter right now. Understandably, if the game was doing incredibly well and progression was incredibly fast and there was an update coming out without any hitch, like without a hitch and anything like that, then everyone would be totally happy. The only problem with that is that none of that's happening due to the fact that we got delayed by hackers, we got delayed by dupers, we got delayed by people. Like there was just so many problems, and a lot of these problems actually stem with a very harsh reality for testers because this makes the tester base of 100 and something testers and above look terrible. That a very simple duping glitch existed and a few testers knew about it, but instead of doing something about it, took advantage of it instead. And the fact that that happened pretty much killed the game's player base whenever it came down to material crafting. There are still many people out here with alt accounts filled with items that we can't deal with unless like something actually pops up and we get to see what happens after. But it ruined the economy and the player base's feel on how they should feel whenever they actually do get the item that they've been grinding for and such and such. It's just a very, very harsh reality for a lot of people who are super interested in the farming aspect of the game, the people who wanted to get the edge on the farming aspect of the game. And there is going to be the new like trinket system right here, but what makes you think these guys aren't just gonna like solidify all their duped assets into brand new trinkets for to still take advantage of the market? It exists. They still have like essence on multiple alt accounts. You know, these guys who do like hacking, duping, they really don't care because all they want to do is make a profit. So it's like not really, like I say, game is game, but at the same time, when it's like it's like it happens all the time, right? It happens within a small community of people. That's okay. But when everyone figured out that you could dupe, everyone and their mama started doing it, dude. It was terrible. But that's just, it's getting fixed. That problem's getting fixed. Let's get on to the actual other issues. The other issues is weapons, balancing, the stats. It's all just incredibly off. Like, it's so off. If you guys don't know, the most balanced armor in the game is actually just wearing light armor, because at least you get defense and magic resistance. The only thing is the game is so simple at the same time. It's almost too simple, and you don't want that with like a major amount of games. But the only way they could fix this is by messing with their entire system, because their entire system is literally just percentage-based values, which all they do is add on to as the game progresses, such as magic resistance being absolutely terrible on like knight armor and stuff like that. So if you take any magic damage, poison damage, all that crazy stuff, you instantly just start dying, and all of a sudden your tank is useless to mostly any boss with magic. Like, that's harsh, man. Like, you're telling me you're gonna clip these dudes' legs, you're gonna tell them they can't run. They're gonna have negative dex in most builds that run tank, and they're also gonna have to struggle with like, you know what I mean? And just, you could say, oh, but Koi, Constitution. Yes, but we've already had this argument already before. We've been there, said and done it. Mages are winning in the PvP area for a reason. It literally just has to do with the fact that everything is incredibly unbalanced, and because like armor's not working the way the armor's supposed to work, or there's no counter method, to these armor things, such as you have all these nice perks, but where's the perk that says bonus like magic resistance armor, bonus armor, or baseline damage reduction? You know what I mean? And the fact that these things weren't implemented before climbing speed is crazy to me, because right now, heavy armor is the worst investment that anyone has ever made, and they all regret it. Like, it's such a regrettable investment. And it's so depressing because a lot of people really love the looks of heavy armor. I love the looks of heavy armor. A lot of people, new players, love heavy armor. The only problem is that in the late game, when you start to look at the numbers, the stats, and the fact that you get one shot by any magic, it's insane, dude. When you got the stats looking like this, and then over here you got the stats that are incredibly good, almost too good. Yeah. Um, and with that being the case, you look at Mage and you're like, okay, but Mage literally just has magic resistance and no armor. This is perfect. This is how mages work. See, there's a major difference between what a mage armor should look like and what like heavy armor should actually look like. Heavy armor should not look like this. The whole point of heavy armor is the point that you're supposed to have more defense in all categories compared to anybody else. And you could make an argument like, oh, but Koi, In a lot of like MMOs, this isn't the case. A lot of people do have different types of, yeah, but there's also plenty of systems that make allow you to either enchant or uh, boost your armor. Not enchant. Obviously, we have an enchant system, but we don't have an enchant system that makes sense. We have an enchant system that just raises the multiplier. It doesn't bring a base value. There's no base value stats in the game. The game is struggling because there's no base value stats that matter. There's no base defense stat. There's no freaking, well, you could say that there is, but honestly, I'm not seeing it. Like, we have the percentages, and the percentages are what lead to the problems that we're going through today. So, it's just very rough. The other part is damage. Damage literally just fell on its head. I don't know if anyone remembers what a mage staff actually is supposed to do compared to like everything else. But if we look at the actual stats for mage staff, which we'll take a look at right now, it's just incredibly higher than a bow in general. An end game bow gets 301% and 100 range. We look at the fire staff, 585%, 100 range. And you could be like, but attack speed, that doesn't matter. It's literally like a point five, like point. No, it's like it's the same attack speed, except mage staffs are just slightly faster for some reason. Like I'll show you guys real quick because this is bow. It's 1 second, and then we pull out staff. Oh, actually, it actually does feel a lot smoother. Actually, maybe it is the same speed. Yeah, it is the same speed. Well, I could have swore the animation was slightly faster. Maybe I'm tripping, but that's just the way it's been. And with this being the case, at the end of the day, if we're just gonna like take a look at everything from like a far point of view, the game is at a stalemate. It's at it like it's staled out. It's stalled out. The game is at a point where no one is really interested in playing because there's no way to progress or there's nothing to do. And that's just the worst part about it is that there's no way to continue progression to 100 unless you use cheats. Obviously, a lot of people got in trouble for that. A lot of people were messing with the systems. A lot of people almost got banned that didn't need to get banned. And it was just a whole debacle that just happened recently. And let me be honest, I've been afraid to also play the game. I've been playing another game, DBOG, because of this issue. You're telling me my my items could go back in time and then or my levels can go back in time and then after that I could lose items or I can get banned because I joined a server and someone set my value to level 100 and I have access to all the freaking season pass stuff, which I don't, by the way. I don't know. They still have till December. You know what I mean? But a lot of this stuff doesn't even make sense anymore. Like the Titan Sword, the Dynasty Daggers. Holy moly, it's bad. This whole battle pass is bad. All right, and the last thing I kind of want to cover today is skills. I think that the way that skills are working is almost perfect. My only problem with it is that a lot of these classes, quote unquote classes, which is whenever you just put two things together, it would work if every item had its own basic versatility, but they don't. They feel incredibly lopsided. So it's like you have your damage items, which is bow, great sword, and fire staff. Then you have your buffer items, which is your fire staff. Then you have your buffer items, which is celestial staff, dagger, ice staff. And you could say, okay, ice staff does damage. Yes, it does. But, it's good. It's super versatile and it could do damage by itself, but it is a far more capable thing when it's matched with something like fire staff. It buffs the hell out of fire staff. It makes fire staff so good to the point where you're not even going to be using your ice staff as often as you think you would. You're going to be using it to buff your damage with your ice staff. You know what I mean? And with that being the case, it's crazy, man. Same thing with celestial staff. Same thing with dagger. These things just don't feel like the best things in the world. They feel too much of a necessity for uh to need a purpose, and that feels rough for people who think that dagger and bow exists. That doesn't exist. Dagger and bow does not exist. Uh, the reason dagger and bow doesn't exist is literally just due to the fact that greatsword is just a better version, and even at that, you just use greatsword and dagger just because that's also a very like you literally are literally. It's like using uh something like an extension. That's it. You're going to be using every dagger skill to boost your greatsword, just to use it as a bigger dagger. And that makes sense. That's just the way it is. But if you look at greatsword by itself, it's very boring. And it has some of the weakest move sets in the entire game because it's such a one trick. It's very boring. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Same thing with dagger. I mean, it's all buffs or debuffs. And even at that, these buffs are incredibly selfish. You're not going to be able to do a lot of this in team comps or any type of situation where it really matters. But, I digress. Bow feels the best out of all these. The only difference is I don't know why they did this. This is another problem with the game. Skill scaling. Skill scaling is the worst scaling in the entire game. You're telling me all these things could do like 125%, 115%. That's its weakest move. Then you look at these and it's like 13%. And it shows. Like the damage shows. It's very bad damage. Over here, 50%. This one's not too bad because that 50% is still pretty good. But the cooldown is terrible. The range is terrible. It can be blocked. And it's like, would you take any of these over just shooting them with poison that actually goes through block with a lower cooldown and a bigger range, like and more damage? It's like far better. It's like it almost wants to be how do you say? It's like the game almost wants to be versatile, and then after that, it kneecaps itself. Ice meteors could be the best skill in the entire game, but it's outshined by freaking ice turret, which is very depressing. But it is what it is. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell down below. Stay notified on all future, content. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget about the giveaway. Peace out.